With the rapid surge in COVID-19 infections around the island, number of people being admitted to hospitals also saw a rapid increase. What's more, the government took a policy decision to admit all COVID patients to hospitals and other treatment centres dedicated for the treatment of COVID-infected persons, with a feature of the third wave being that more and more patients are developing serious symptoms. Need for hospital beds was at a premium. Owing to this, medical associations also weighed in, urging the government to rethink its strategy and allow home treatment of COVID patients. As the calls intensified, discussions were held on the possibility of home treatment of asymptomatic patients with the view of reducing congestion at hospitals and treatment centres. Yesterday, a pilot project to this effect was launched in Kalutara. Commenting about the progress of it, Deputy Director General of Education and Research at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Hemantha Herath, today emphasised that the home treatment of COVID patients should only be an alternative if the rising patient numbers push the country's healthcare system to breaking point.
රෝගියෙක් නිවසේදී කළමනාකරණය කිරීම තාමත්ම බාරදූර කාර්යයක්. මේක නිසි පරිදි සිදු නොවුනොත් අපිට ඒ රෝගීන්ගේ ජීවිත ඔවුන්ගේ සංකූලතා පිළිබඳව නොයෙකුත් අභියෝගවලට මුහුණ දෙන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා. එම නිසාම තමයි නියම ව්‍යාපෘතියක් හැටියට මේක ක්‍රියාත්මක කරලා එහි ලැබෙන ප්‍රතිඵලත් අනුව මේක අවශ්‍ය පරිදි කටයුතු කරනවා. හැබැයි මේ මොහොත වෙනකොටත් නිවෙස්වල සුළු ප්‍රතිශතයක් රෝගීන් රෝහල් ගත කරන තෙක් දිනක් කිහිපයක් සමහර විට නිවෙස්වල සිටිනවා. දැනටමත් අපේ හොට්ලයින් හරහා අපි ඒ අයව දැනුවත් කරනවා. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ප්‍රශ්න වලට උත්තර දෙනවා. අසාධ්‍ය තත්ත්වයට පත්වීමට ඉඩකඩ තියෙන රෝගීන් හඳුනාගෙන ඒ අයව රෝහල් ගත කිරීමට ප්‍රමුඛත්වය දීලා ඒක කිරීම කරගෙන යනවා. මේ සියල්ල හේතු කොටගෙන ඉදිරියට නිවසේදී බලා කියා ගන්නවාය කියන ප්‍රතිපත්තියට යෑමට ප්‍රථම දැනටමත් අපි මේ ක්‍රමවේදය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා. නමුත් මේක කරන්න සිද්ධ වුණොත් හරියට කරන්න ඕනේ. අන්න ඒකටයි මේ සූදානම් වෙන්නේ. මොකද ඒක දවසෙන් දෙකෙන් සූදානම් වෙලා කරන්න අමාරුයි. ඒ සූදානම් වීමේ ක්‍රියාවලිය මිසක් මේ වෙනකොට ඒක ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීමට සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශය හෝ වෙන ආකාරයක සූදානමක් නැහැ. මොකද ඒකට හුඟක් පාර්ශවකරුවන් අපිට සහභාගී කරව ගන්න වෙනවා. ඒ සියලු දෙනාම මේ පිළිබඳව දැනුවත් වෙන්න ඕනේ, පුහුණු කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ අයගේ ක්‍රියාවලියන් අපිට අධීක්ෂණය කිරීමේ වැඩපිළිවෙලක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ.
In recent days, novel coronavirus cases were being confirmed across all 25 districts, and yesterday was no different. 2,971 cases in total were recorded in the island, with the highest daily caseload coming from Colombo, with 605 infections. Kalutara and Gampaha reported 472 and 395 cases respectively, confirming that the Western Province is still the worst affected in the entire country. In addition, 223 infections came from Ratnapura, 171 infections were detected from Kurunegala, 168 from Galle, 96 from Matara, while 92 were confirmed from Nuwara. The remaining 17 districts accounted for 728 infections. A foreign arrival was also among yesterday's cases.
Almost 18 months into the defining health crisis of our age, the world remains in a very dangerous situation. As of today, more cases have been reported so far this year than in the whole of 2020. On current trends, the number of deaths will overtake last year's total within the next 3 weeks.
Meanwhile, 33 COVID-19 deaths were confirmed yesterday, increasing the total number of fatalities to 1,243. According to the Department of Government Information, 5 of them had in fact occurred yesterday. COVID pneumonia was cited as the cause of death in most of the fatalities. With questions being raised about COVID-19 related deaths occurring at homes, Dr. Herath explained that those who succumb at home are in fact asymptomatic patients, and confirmation of the infection is only revealed after death.
මේ අය මිය ගියාට කොවිඩ් රෝගයේ වැළඳිලා රෝග ලක්ෂණ පහළ කරමින් හිටියේ අනං බොහෝ වෙලාවට පවුලේ අය ඒ අයව රෝහලකට ගෙන යන්න උත්සුක නොවෙනවා නොවේනේ. නමුත් බොහෝ වෙලාවට එවැනි රෝග ලක්ෂණ පහළ වීමකින් තොරව යම් ප්‍රතිශතයක් මේ ආකාරයට මිය යනවා. ඒ රෝගීන්ව අපිට හඳුනා ගැනීමට සමහර වෙලාවට බොහෝ කාලයක් ගත වෙන්න පුළුවන්. වැඩිහිටි වයස්වල ඉන්න උගදෙනෙකුට විවිධාකාර රෝගාබාධ තියෙනවා. එවැනි රෝගාබාධ වලින් පෙළෙන කෙනෙක් අසනීප තත්ත්වයෙන් සිටිනවා නම් රෝහලකට ගෙන යාමට මැලිවන්න එපා. ඒක ඊටාත්ම බරපතල තත්ත්වයක්. ඒ නිසා ඕනෑම කෙනෙකු වෛද්‍ය ප්‍රතිකාර අවශ්‍යයි කියලා හැඟී යන හැම අවස්ථාවකම ළඟම තියෙන රෝහලට ගෙන යා යුතුයි. ඒ රෝහල් සියල්ලම එවැනි රෝගීන් බාර ගැනීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය කරන සූදානම් වීම කරලායි තියෙන්නේ.
With inclement weather forecast in the coming days, health authorities say that necessary measures will be taken to evacuate COVID patients and those under quarantine in affected areas.
නිරෝධායනට ලක් වෙච්ච අය රෝගීන් නිවෙස්වල සිටිනවා නම් ඒ බව සෞඛ්‍ය කාර්ය මණ්ඩල දන්නවා. ඒවා අපිට නිරන්තරයෙන්ම ආපදා කළමනාකරණ කණ්ඩායම් වෙත යාවත්කාලීන කරමින් දැනුම් දීමට උපදෙස් ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ හරහා එවැනි අය සිටිනවා නම් ඒ විශේෂිත ආරක්ෂිත ස්ථාන කරා ඒ අයව ගෙනියන්න කටයුතු කරනවා.
A total of 1,808 fresh COVID-19 infections have been confirmed in the island today so far. There were recoveries too. 1,228 COVID patients were given the all-clear to return to their daily lives today, boosting Sri Lanka's total recoveries to 141,175. On the vaccination front, 925,242 people had received the first dose of Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine as of last evening. Further, 338,493 out of them have been completely inoculated against COVID-19 with both vaccine doses. As for Sputnik V, 14,984 people have received the first dose of the Russia-made jab. Meanwhile, 516,259 people have received the first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine. 2,435 persons have been given both doses of the jab. However, they are Chinese nationals in Sri Lanka. In the meantime, a consignment of 500,000 doses of China's Sinopharm vaccine is to arrive in the island at around midnight today. The stock is a donation from China. The previous consignment the country sent is also a donation. Meanwhile, Cabinet co-spokesperson Dr. Ramesh Patirana touched on the government's vaccine procurement plans and the difficulties it is faced with in the process.
We experienced a major difficulty in relation to sourcing this vaccine from AstraZeneca. One matter pertaining to that was that Serum Institute of India, they encounter a lot of difficulties because of the number of rising cases in India, and also the factory was caught on fire. So they are finding it difficult to match the demands now. Considering that, and also because of their inability to provide sufficient quantities, we need to look into another source. That's why we are looking forward to source some vaccines from Sinopharm. Our priority is to vaccinate more people as possible as at our earliest. So we are looking at different avenues to ensure that we source vaccines from, if not from Covishield, if not from AstraZeneca, we have to resort to Sinopharm and Sputnik. That's why we are looking at those avenues.
So AstraZeneca, the 13.5 million, is it now down to just 1 million?
Because they couldn't supply the required quantities. We are still awaiting that 600,000 doses for the second dose. We had vaccinated nearly 1 million population. We have managed to give second dose only for 300,000 people. So we are still awaiting that remaining 600,000 quantity, for which we don't get the confirmation as such. So there is no use of looking at that for a longer period of time if we can get it from another source.
In the meantime, Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, called on the member states to vaccinate at least 10% of the population of every country by September this year.
The ongoing vaccine crisis is a scandalous inequity that's perpetuating the pandemic. More than 75% of all vaccines have been administered in just 10 countries. There is no diplomatic way to say it. A small group of countries that make and buy the majority of the world's vaccines control the fate of the rest of the world. I'm calling on member states to support a massive push to vaccinate at least 10% of the population of every country by September, and a drive to December to achieve our goal of vaccinating at least 30% by the end of the year. This is crucial to stop severe disease and death.
දසනකාන්තී චූර්ණය සහිත ලීවර් ආයුෂ් දන්තාලේපය දත්වල ඇති ප්‍රශ්න 10ක් වළකයි.